Welcome to Lento English. Ready to level up your English? Here we learn through stories, slow, clear, and fun. Listen, relax, and enjoy the journey.
1. Introduction. Imagine something important about money between countries. What if a very big country like China stops buying promises of money back from another big country like America? America sometimes needs to borrow money. It does this by selling papers. These papers are like promises. America promises to pay the money back later plus a little extra. We can call these papers IOUs. For many years, China bought a lot of these American IOUs. China is a very large country. It makes many things and sells them to countries all over the world. When China sells things, it gets paid money, often in American dollars. China had a lot of American dollars. It needed a safe place to keep this money. Buying American IOUs was a safe choice for China. China became one of the biggest buyers of America's IOUs outside of America itself. This was a big part of the world's money story for a long time. It showed how the economies of China and America were connected. But things are changing now. In recent years, China has started to buy fewer American IOUs. It is using its money in different ways. This change is important. Some people who study money and countries think a lot about this. They ask, what happens if China buys even less? What if China stops buying American IOUs almost completely? This question is not just for experts who study money. It can touch the lives of many people. It can affect how much things cost in shops. It can affect the value of money. It can affect how countries work together. It is a part of the big story of how the world economy works. This book will tell you more about this story. We will look at why America sells IOUs. We will see why countries like China bought them. We will learn how China earned so much money to buy these IOUs. Then we will look at why China is buying less now and what might happen in the future. Understanding this story helps us understand more about the world today and how money moves between countries. It is an interesting look at a very important part of the global economy. 2. What is America's debt? America is a country, and like a person, it needs money to pay for things. It needs money for its government to work. The government collects money from taxes, but sometimes this is not enough. When the government needs more money, it borrows it. It does this by selling special papers. These papers are promises from the government to pay money back later. Think of them like IOUs. The government sells these IOUs to many different people and groups who have extra money. These IOUs from the American government have different names depending on how long the money is borrowed for. For short times, they are called treasury bills. For medium times, they are called treasury notes. For long times, they are called treasury bonds. People often just call all of these papers treasuries. The money the government gets from selling these treasuries helps pay for important things all over the country, like building roads, helping schools, paying soldiers, and many other government costs. This is how America gets the money it needs when taxes are not enough. When the government sells these IOUs, it promises to pay the original amount back when the time is finished. It also promises to pay a little extra money over time. This extra money is called interest. So people and countries who buy these IOUs lend money to America and earn a little extra money in return. All the money that the American government has borrowed over time by selling these IOUs adds up to a very big number. This total amount is called America's national debt. This debt has grown a lot over the years. As of the third part of the year 2024, the total national debt was more than $35 trillion. This is a huge amount of money that America owes. So, who buys all these American IOUs? Many buyers are inside America. American people, banks, and businesses buy them. But a very large part of America's debt is owned by buyers outside America. Other countries' governments buy them. Their central banks, which manage their country's money, buy them. Large companies and groups that manage money in other countries also buy them. For example, the country of Japan owns a large amount of America's debt. Many other foreign countries also own a lot. These buyers from around the world are lending money to the American government when they buy these IOUs. This system of selling IOUs helps America get money, and it gives buyers a place to put their money. 3. Why buy America's debt? We learned that America sells special papers like IOUs to get money. Many countries around the world buy these papers. But why do they buy them? There are a few important reasons. First, America's IOUs are seen as very safe. It is like putting your money in a bank you trust completely. People and countries believe that America will always pay back the money it owes. This is very important for big buyers like other countries' central banks. They need a place to keep their money that is not risky. Second, it is easy to buy and sell America's IOUs. There is a very big market for them. If a country buys these papers but then needs its money back quickly, it can sell them easily. It is like having something valuable that many people want to buy. This makes them easy to trade. Third, the US dollar is a very important money in the world. Many countries use US dollars to buy and sell things with other countries. Because they get a lot of US dollars from selling their goods, they need a place to keep these dollars. Buying America's IOUs is a way to keep these dollars and also earn a little extra money. Think about a country that sells many things to other countries. It gets paid in different kinds of money, but often in US dollars. This country ends up with a lot of extra US dollars. It cannot just leave this money sitting doing nothing. It needs to put it somewhere safe where it can maybe even grow a little. America's IOUs offer that safe place. So for countries with a lot of extra money, especially US dollars, buying America's debt is a good idea. It is safe, easy to manage, and helps them keep their important US dollars. These are the main reasons why countries choose to buy billions and billions of dollars worth of America's special papers. It is a way for them to save their money and use it later if they need to. 4. China's money mountain. China's economy started to grow very fast. This happened especially in the early 2000s. Many countries wanted to buy things made in China. China became a place that made and sold many goods to the world. They were exporting a lot. When China sold these goods, they got money from other countries. This money was often in US dollars. China sold more goods than it bought from other countries. This is called having a trade surplus. Because of this, China received a very large amount of US dollars. China had a lot of these dollars. They needed a safe place to keep this money. Just keeping the dollars was not the best idea. China wanted to earn money from this large amount of dollars. So China decided to invest these dollars. U.S. government debt was seen as a very safe investment. Because of this, China started buying America's IOUs, the U.S. Treasury securities. The People's Bank of China, which is like China's main bank, bought these securities. Over time, China bought more and more U.S. debt. Their holdings grew a lot. In the year 2000, China held about $70 billion of U.S. debt. By the year 2008, this amount was more than $700 billion. It kept growing. China's buying was so big that it became a top holder of America's debt among foreign countries. For some years, China held the most U.S. debt of any country outside the United States. This showed how much money China had earned from selling goods and how they chose to invest it. 5. China changes its plan. China is now buying less U.S. IOUs than it used to. For many years, China was one of the biggest buyers of America's debt in the world. It held a very large amount of these U.S. government promises to pay back money. But lately, China's plan for how it uses its large amount of money is changing. It is not buying as many U.S. IOUs as before. There are a few main reasons for this change in China's actions. One important reason is that China has started many big building projects in different countries around the world. This is called the Belt and Road Initiative. China is helping other countries build important things like roads, bridges, ports, and train lines. These projects are in places like Asia, Europe, and Africa. They are very large projects that need a lot of money to build. China is using some of the money it earned from selling goods to countries all over the world to pay for these large projects. Because this money is being used for building and helping other countries, China has less money available to buy more U.S. IOUs. Another reason for China's changing plan is that it is working more closely with other large, growing countries. These countries include Brazil, Russia, India, and South Africa. Together, they are known as the BRICS Group. This group wants to work together more on how they use money and trade. They want to use their own currencies more often when they trade with each other, instead of always using the US dollar. They also want to rely less on money systems that are mostly controlled by Western countries. As part of this plan, the BRICS countries are working to reduce the amount of US IOUs they own. China is a key part of this effort with its friends in the BRICS group. China is also changing what it buys to keep its money safe. It is buying more gold. Many people around the world see gold as a very safe and strong way to store value over time. When China buys more gold, it uses its US dollars to do this. This means it has fewer US dollars left to buy US IOUs. Buying more gold helps China make its own financial position stronger and feel more secure. It helps China worry less about possible money problems or pressures that might come from other countries. So, instead of putting most of its extra money into US IOUs, China is now using its large amount of money in different ways. It is investing in big building projects in other countries, working with new partners in the BRICS group, and increasing its holdings of gold. These new plans show a clear shift in China's approach to managing its money and its place in the world economy. It is buying fewer US IOUs compared to the past, and this is an important change for the global financial picture. 6. If China buys less, what might happen if China buys less of America's debt? This is an important question for the world of money. For many years, China bought a lot of the papers that America sells to borrow money. China bought so much because it sold many goods to America and other countries, getting a lot of American dollars. China used these dollars to buy American debt papers. China became one of the biggest foreign buyers of this debt, but now China is buying less. If this continues, or if China stops buying completely, some important things could change for America and for the world economy. One important change could be for America when it needs to borrow money. When America needs money, it sells these debt papers. If a very big buyer like China buys fewer papers, there is less demand for them in the market. When fewer people want to buy something, the seller might need to offer a better price or pay more interest to find buyers. So, the cost for America to borrow money could go up. This means America might have to pay more interest on its large national debt. Another thing that could change is the value of the American dollar. China holds many American dollars because of its trade with the world. They use these dollars to buy American debt. If China sells its American debt papers, they might also sell some of the American dollars they hold. If a very large amount of dollars is sold, or if China holds fewer dollars in total, the value of the American dollar could become weaker compared to other countries' money like the euro or the yen. A weaker American dollar can affect prices for people in America. If the dollar is weaker, things that America buys from other countries, called imports, can become more expensive. For example, if a car from another country cost $10,000 before, it might cost more dollars now because the dollar is weaker. This is also true for many other things that come from other countries, like clothes, toys, electronics, or even food. These imports could cost more money for people in America to buy in stores. These are some possible things that might happen if China buys much less American debt. However, the market for American debt is very, very big. Every day, many billions of dollars of this debt are bought and sold by people and groups all over the world. Many other countries and investors around the world also buy this debt because it is seen as a very safe place to put money. So if China buys less, maybe other buyers will buy more to fill the gap. This could help to keep the market stable and prevent big problems. But because China was such a large buyer for so long, their decision is still very important. It shows how connected countries are through money and trade in the modern world. When one big country makes a change in its money plans, it can cause effects in many other places around the world. This is part of the big picture of global money. 7. World markets react. When a big country like China changes how it buys U.S. debt, money markets around the world pay attention. These are the places where countries and big companies buy and sell money and debt. They might feel a bit worried at first. This is because U.S. debt is known as one of the safest places to put money. If a major buyer like China starts selling, it could make some people less sure about things. But the market for U.S. debt is very, very big. Think of it like a huge shop where many, many people come to buy and sell every day. There are always lots of buyers and sellers. This helps the market stay strong. Even if one big buyer steps away, there are often many other buyers ready to take their place. These could be other countries, big banks, or large investment funds. The size of this market means it can handle large amounts of buying or selling. So while China buying less is a big change, the market is deep enough to absorb some of the effect. This might help other countries feel less worried. They might see that the U.S. debt market is still a safe place to put money and that other buyers are still there. Other countries might look at the situation. Will they panic, or will they stay calm? Because the market is so big and has many different kinds of buyers, it helps to keep things stable. It shows that there are many people around the world who still want to buy U.S. debt. The global economy is also very large and connected. It can slowly adjust to big changes over time. If one country changes its money plans, the rest of the world economy will find ways to work with the new situation. Things might shift a little, but the system is built to adjust. So while the first reaction might be some worry, the size of the market and the presence of other buyers help the world economy find its balance. 8. What we learned. In this story, we learned many important things about the world of money and how countries are connected through it. A main lesson is that when big countries make decisions about their money, like buying or selling debt, it can have effects that reach far across the world and touch other countries. We learned specifically about America needing to borrow money and how it does this by selling special papers that are like IOUs. These are called U.S. Treasuries. We saw how China, for a long time, became one of the biggest foreign buyers of these American IOUs. This happened largely because China sold a huge amount of goods to countries everywhere, especially America, and earned a lot of American dollars. Buying American IOUs was seen as a very safe and easy place for China to keep and manage these large amounts of money. But we also learned that China's approach is changing now. China is buying fewer American IOUs than it used to. We discovered that China has new plans for its money. It is investing in big building projects and other developments in many different countries around the world. China is also choosing to buy more gold. This shift shows a clear change in how China is using its large money reserves. We thought about what the possible results might be if China continues to buy less American debt. We learned that this could potentially make it a little more expensive for the American government to borrow money in the future. It could also cause the value of the American dollar to change, perhaps becoming a little weaker compared to other currencies. If the dollar is weaker, things that are imported from other countries might cost more money for people to buy in places like America. We also learned that the market for America's IOUs is extremely large and active. Many other investors, including other countries, banks, and large companies, buy this debt every day. This means that even if one very large buyer like China reduces its purchases, the market can often find other buyers to fill the gap. However, a change by such a major player is still significant globally and causes financial markets to think about the future. The story of China's buying and then reducing its holdings of American debt is a key part of the changing economic relationship between these two big countries. It is like a complex dance where the steps are always adjusting. Why is understanding this important for everyone, even if you don't work in finance? Because these big changes in the global economy can have real and direct effects on our daily lives. They can influence the prices of goods we see in the shops, the strength of our own money, and the general health of the economy we live in. Knowing about these connections helps us understand the bigger picture of the world we live in. So this chapter summarizes what we learned: that global money flows are important, that decisions by big countries affect others, that key relationships like China and America's debt holdings are changing, and that these changes matter for the global economy and ultimately for us all. It is a lesson in how connected the world is through money,